how to access our website. Go to any browser and type search creators. Click on the first link. Now you have entered our home page where 50k plus study materials are available along with 1000 plus project ideas. We have 10 plus expert members in our team and we also support 50 plus engineering domains. In navigation bar, select University Study Materials. There are three streams available: computer science, information science and artificial intelligence and data science. For now, we will click on computer science. Now we will be able to access all the study materials of different subjects of different semesters.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Search Creators YouTube channel, your trusted partner for innovative tech solutions and study materials. Today in this video, we are going to continue the module 1 in cloud computing. The next topic in module 1 is technologies for network based systems. That introduction to distributed computing technology. It discusses hardware, software, and network technologies for distributed computing. It focuses on designing distributed operating systems for handling massive parallelism. Next is advances in CPU processors. Modern CPUs use multi-core architecture, which means there are the number of CPUs will be like in different formats like dual, quad, 6 or more cores. Next is instruction level parallelism, which is ILP, and thread level parallelism, which is TLP. Improve the performance. Processor speed evolution. The evolution started from 1 MIPS, which is in VAX 780, which is in 1978, to 1800 MIPS, which is Intel Pentium 4, which is from 2002. After the Intel Pentium, the further evolution took like 22,000 MIPS, which is Sun Niagara 2, which is from 2008. Next, Moore's law holds for CPU growth, but clock rates are limited, like 5 GHz max, due to heat and power constraints. Like due to heat and power constraints, the clock rate is limited to 5 GHz, like maximum it is 5 GHz. Next is modern CPU technologies include superscalar architecture, dynamic branch prediction, speculative execution. Next in that multi-threaded CPUs, for example Intel i7, AMD Operaton, Sun Niagara, IBM Power 6. This is the figure representation of how the evolution took place. Like I said, it started from VAX, now it has ended at in the present generation like Intel iCore i7. This is the graph is from 1978 to 2011. Next, in this figure we can observe the multi-core processors like L3 catch RAM and L2 catch and core 1, core 2 and core n like number of cores which are connected to L2 latch, and the L2 latch is communicating with L3 latch RAM. It is the representation in figure 1.5. Next is multi-core CPU and many-core GPU architectures. CPUs may scale to hundreds of crores but face memory wall limitation. Like the scale of CPU may rise up to hundreds of crores, but memory wall limitation is one of the setback in it. Next is GPUs, which is graphics processing units, are designed for massive parallelism and data level parallelism, which is DLP. x86 based processors dominate HPC and HTC. Like in the previous video, I explained about HPC and HTC systems. You can refer the previous video to know about HPC and HTC systems. Next, we will move to the next points. Trend towards heterogeneous processors combining CPU and GPU cores on a single chip. Like the trend is going on like combining the CPU and GPU cores on a single chip. By this, many features will be available in the computing system, which makes it more futuristic also. Like in olden days, it was not like highly processable. By combining both CPU and GPU cores on a single chip, trend is going on like trend towards heterogeneous processors combining CPU and GPU cores on a single chip. Next, we look at multi-threading technology. Here are some diagrams. In the first diagram, we see superscalar processor. Next is fine-grained multi-threaded processor. Next is coarse-grained multi-threaded processor. Next is dual core 2 processor CMP. Next is simultaneous multi-threaded SMT processors. We can observe them in this figure. Figure is 1.6. Next is types of processor architectures. Let's look at the types. Superscalar, single threaded with multiple functional units. Superscalar is the single threaded with multiple functional units. Like superscalar is the single threaded with multiple functional units. Next is fine grain multi-threading, which switches between threads per cycle. Next is coarse grain multi-threading. In this it executes multiple instructions per thread before switching. Like it executes multiple instruction before switching. Next is chip multiprocessor, which is CMP, multi-core processor executing multiple threads. It is the multi-core processor executing multiple threads. Next is simultaneous multi-threading, which is SMT. It executes instructions from different threads in parallel. Like the execution of instruction from different threads are going on in parallel. Next is GPU computing and exascale systems. In this, GPUs were initially graphic accelerators, now widely used for HPC and AI. At the beginning stages, GPUs were graphics accelerators, now in modern day, now widely used in HPC and artificial intelligence. Next is first GPU, which is NVIDIA GeForce 256, which came into existence on 1999. Like we all know that in the present market, NVIDIA is the most popular for graphic cards. Like the first GPU was from NVIDIA, like NVIDIA GeForce 256 from 1999. Modern GPUs have hundreds of cores. Example, NVIDIA CUDA Tesla. Like they have hundreds of cores. Like modern GPUs have hundreds of cores. For example, NVIDIA CUDA Tesla. Next is GPGPUs, which stands for General Purpose GPU Computing. It enables parallel processing beyond the graphics. Like it provides the facility for parallel processing beyond the graphics also. Next is how GPUs work. Early GPUs functioned as CPU co-processors. Like in the early beginning stages, GPUs functioned as CPU co-processors. Modern GPUs have 128 plus cores, each handling multiple threads. Like in the modern days, GPUs have 128 plus cores, each handling multiple threads. Next is GPUs optimize throughput, CPUs optimize latency. Like GPUs are used for optimizing the throughput and CPUs optimize the latency. Used in supercomputers, AI, deep learning, gaming, and mobile devices. Like GPUs are used in supercomputers, AI, deep learning, gaming, and in mobile devices. Like a good GPU is needed for any like deep learning, like for hardcore gaming, for mobile devices. Good GPU is needed. Without it, it cannot run correctly. Next is GPU programming model. This is the figure for GPU programming model. Like one GPU inside the GPU, multi processor 1 to multi processor N, P1, P2, PN, P1, P2, PN. Like the number of cores may be different. Like device memory is present and main memory is interconnected between the GPU and the CPU. CPU offloads floating point computation to GPU. Like the CPU offloads floating point computations to the GPU. Next, CUDA programming by NVIDIA enables large scaling parallel computing. Like the programming which is provided by the NVIDIA, it enables large scale parallel computing. Like there is one example like the NVIDIA Fermi GPU chip with 512 CUDA processors. Like, this is the diagram for it. It's the figure 1.8. Next is power efficiency of GPUs. Let's look at the power efficiency of GPUs. GPUs offer better performance per watt than CPUs. In when it comes to power efficiency, GPUs perform more, like better performance per watt when compared to CPUs. Energy consumption is in CPUs, it is 2 NJ per instruction. In GPU, 2000 PJ per instruction. Like it is 10x more efficient when compared to CPU. Next, challenges in future computing. Like what are the challenges which can be faced in future computing? Power consumption constraints, optimization of storage hierarchy and memory management, need for self-aware OS, locality aware compilers and auto turners for GPU based computing. Like these are some challenges in future computing. Next we will look at memory storage and wide area networking. In that memory technology, RAM capacity growth. Let's look at the RAM capacity growth from earlier days to modern day. In 1976, the capacity was 16 KB and in 2011 it was 64 GB, increasing 4x every 3 years. Memory wall problem. Like earlier we looked at memory wall problem. CPU speed increases faster than memory access speed, creating a performance gap in the memory technology. Hard drive capacity growth. Let's look at the evolution of hard drive capacity growth. In 1981, it was 260 MB, and in 2004, it was 250 GB, and in 2011, it was 3 TB, increasing 10x every 8 years. Challenges in this are faster GPUs and larger memory lead to CPU memory bottlenecks. Like this is the challenge faced in the memory technology. Next is disks and storage technology. In disks and storage technology, disk arrays exceed 3B in capacity beyond 2000 2011. The capacity of disk exceeded 3 TB capacity beyond 2011. Flash memory and SSDs are revolutionizing HPC, which is high performance computing, and HTC, which is high throughput computing. We looked briefly at HPC and HTC, we know what they are. Like flash memory and SSD are revolutionizing the HPC and HTC. Next is SSD lifespan. Let's look at the SSD lifespan. SSD lifespan is from 3 lakh to 1 million write cycles per block, making them durable for years. Like from 3 lakh to 1 million writes cycles per block, like they are more durable for many years. Next is storage trends. In that, tape units obsolete, disks functions as tape units, flash storage replacing traditional disks, memory functions as cache. Here we can observe that tape units are obsolete, disks function as tape units, flash storage like they replace the disk, and memory functions as cache. Cache, as we know that it cache is the smallest storage of memory, like currently what the system process is going on, that memory is stored in cache. Next is challenges. Some of the challenges are power consumption, cooling, and cost of large storage systems. Here we can observe how memory chip size increased and what are the disk capacities. In this diagram we can observe that. Next is system area interconnects. Small clusters use Ethernet switches or local area networks. Like local area networks are the like the network area covering the small local area or small blocks, like building blocks. Small cluster make use of them. Types of storage networks. Storage area network, which is SAN, connects servers to network storage. Network attached storage, which is NAS, allows client hosts direct disk access. Next we'll look at one figure. Small clusters use Gigabit Ethernet with copper cables. Small clusters use Gigabit Ethernet with copper cables. In this diagram we can observe LAN, NAS, SAN. Like SAN is interconnected with LAN and NAS, and client hosts are connected with NAS, SAN and LAN. Here in this figure we can observe it. Next is wide area network. Like in wide area network we look at Ethernet speed evolution. In 1979 it was 10 MB per second. In 99 it was 1 GB per second. In 2011 it was 40 to 100 GB per second. Projected 1 TBs in 2013. Like it went on increasing from year to year. Next is network performance growth, 2x per year, surpassing Moore's law for GPUs. Like it surpasses the Moore's law. Network performance growth, like it took as 2x per year. Next is high bandwidth networking enables large scale distributing computing. Like high bandwidth network enabled large scale distributed computing. Like the high bandwidth help the large scale distributed computing. Next is IDC 2010 report. In IDC 2000 report, InfiniBand and Ethernet will dominate HPC interconnects. Like in IDC report of 2010, it stated that InfiniBand and Ethernet will dominate the high performance computing interconnects. Most data centers use Gigabyte Ethernet for server clusters. Like most of the data centers use Gigabyte Ethernet for their server clusters. Next is virtual machines and virtualization middleware. In that, we look at traditional computers have a single OS tightly coupling applications to hardware. In the olden computers, like in traditional computers, only had single OS, which is tightly coupled application to which tightly coupling applications to hardware. Virtual machines, which are VMs, provide flexibility, resource utilization, software manageability, and security. Like what VM provide is like they provide flexibility, they help in resource utilization, they also are important in software manageability, and they also provide security. Virtualization enables access to computing, storage, and network resources dynamically. Dynamically means changing. Virtualization enables access to computing, storage, and network resources dynamically, like it changes, it's not static. The access to computing, storage, and network resources are dynamically. It enables changing, like virtualization enables access to those components dynamically. Next is middleware like virtual machine monitors, which is VMMs, or hypervisors manage VMs. Middleware like virtual machine monitors, which are VMMs, or hypervisors manage the virtual machines. Next we look at diagram of virtual machine architectures. Here in A we can observe physical machine, B native virtual machine, C is hosted virtual machine, and D is dual mode virtual machines. Like we can observe the difference in them in this diagram. Host machine. Host machine is physical hardware runs as OS. Example Windows. Native virtual machine, which is bare metal. A hypervisor directly manages hardware running guest OS. Like for example, Zen on Linux. Host VMs. The VMM runs in non-privileged mode without modifying the host OS. Without modifying the host OS, VMMs run in non-privileged mode in host VMs. Hybrid VMs. VMM operates at both user and supervisor levels, requiring host OS modifications. Next, look at the advantages. OS independency, like independent operating system. Application portability, like portable applications, it supports it. Next is hardware abstraction, like abstraction of hardware can be done. Next is VM primitive operations. What are the primitive operations in VM? Multiplexing, which is multiple VMs run on a single hardware machine. Suspension and storage. VM state is saved for later use. Resumption. Suspended VM can be, like VM is virtual machine, can be restored on a different machine. Suspension and storage. VM state is saved for later use. Resumption is suspended VMs can be restored on a different machine. Migration. Virtual machine moves across platforms, enhancing the flexibility. What are the benefits of VM primitive operation? Improved. Next we look at some diagrams. Like this is the diagram which represents multiplexing. This diagram represents suspension storage. Like suspension is in the sense storage. Next, this diagram represents provision. Next, this diagram represents life migration. Virtual infrastructures. In virtual infrastructures, this figure shows the customer spending millions installed millions installed servers. Like in this diagram, we can Look at the customer spending like in dollars and millions installed servers. In virtual infrastructures, maps physical resources which are compute, storage, networking to virtualized applications, separates hardware from software, reducing costs and increasing efficiency. It separates between it separates hardware from software. What it by this it reduces the cost and efficiency is increased. Supports cloud computing through dynamic resource mapping. It supports cloud computing through changing resource mapping. Dynamic in the sense changing. Next is data center virtualization for cloud computing. In that cloud architecture, it uses commodity hardware which are x86 processor, low cost storage and gigabyte ethernet. It uses like cloud architecture, it uses low commodity hardware. Like low commodity hardwares are used in cloud architecture like x86 processor, low cost storage and gigabyte ethernet. Design priorities: cost efficiency over raw performance, focusing on storage and energy savings. Next is data center growth and cost breakdown. Next we Next we will look at data center growth and cost breakdown. Large data centers contain thousands of servers. Cost distribution: according to 2009 IDC report, 30% for IT equipments like servers, storage, 60% for maintenance and management like for cooling, power, etc. Like electricity and cooling cost increase from 5% to 14% in 15 years. Like this is the prediction report of 2009 IDC report. Next, low cost design philosophy. Like how design can be done at low cost. Uses commodity x86 servers and ethernet networks instead of expensive hardware. Like using of commodity x86 servers and ethernet networks decrease the cost. Software manages network traffic, fault tolerance and scalability. Like this software manages network traffic, like network traffic is reduced and fault tolerance and scalability can also be seen. Next is convergence of technologies enabling cloud computing. Hardware virtualization and multi-core chips. They allow dynamic configuration, utility and grid computing. It forms the foundation of the cloud computing. SOA, Web 2.0 and mashups. Advances in web technologies drive cloud adoption. Like it advances in web technologies drive cloud adoption. Next is automatic computing and data center automation. It enhances the efficiency. Next, the last is impact of cloud computing on data science and e-research. Data deluge: massive data from sensors, web simulations requiring advanced data management. E-science applications they are used in biology, chemistry, physics and social science. MapReduce and iterative MapReduce enable parallel processing of big data. Multi-core and GPU clusters, it boosts computational power for scientific research. Last is cloud computing and data science convergence. It revolutionizes computing architecture and programming models. Like this is all about the second topic in the module 1. I hope you have downloaded the notes and understood the topics. Stay tuned for the further videos on the module 1. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.